I'm hearing screaming outside. You know, there have been a lot of cop cars coming by recently. By the way, yeah, if you are ever forced to bend over for something that would be considered an SFW, bend backwards. I'm bending backwards because, well, bending backwards is frankly going to be better fit, depending on a couple variables. And also, you could turn it against the person or thing, being as well. Don't know why I'm saying this, and I'm elevated now. Do not question the elevated one. And PlayStation's really skimping out on the PlayStation 4 stuff. Don't know why they're doing that, but they are. They barely last. And especially when compared to this thing. This thing. Broken Damage came out at best. I'd say 2014 at best. It was also gotten used for multiple years. Physical damage, that's fine. A 2-month-old, not including shipping controller, that's been exposed to cigarette smoke too many years. A new controller that worked better. Oh boy, so many errors. So many inputs did not function. And used controllers probably aren't going to be... They're probably going to have something wrong with them in some way, because a perfectly good controller is probably not going to be sold. To GameStop, because, you know... And Ghost of Tsushima Launch Edition. Don't get that. Get the default version. I've seen the default version, and I have the Launch Edition. And the Launch Edition would imply that there's more stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably gonna be more expensive, and even so, it's not worth it. Arrows that sometimes aren't even blockable will get you. You can't use Iron Will, no matter how much resolve you have when you're downed, without getting striked while down. Sometimes the canceling doesn't work, even though it's worked in the past. The arrows come out of nowhere, so even if you do manage to win a hearing battle, yeah, the enemies are gonna pop in. They pop in when you get close. I've seen them in the render distance just pop up. And it seems that after you kill, more enemies spawn. I know from doing that one spot too many times, so even if you do overcome the odds and beat the overwhelming forces, you're not gonna get anything because of those arrows that come out of nowhere. And they approved clipping in a cutscene. And the arrows that come at you aren't even arrows. And somehow you can't block a kunai coming at you real slow with an arrow fast. Sorry, those blue air effects. And Minecraft I got brand new, and there were just too many. I don't understand it. It shouldn't have been so poorly. The PlayStation's hardware is worse than that 360's hardware. The controllers for Xbox 360 last better, and And there's no dismembering in any of the hack and slash games I've gotten, except for one, and so far through the games. And that's to remove that as optional, and I only even knew existed from watching a playthrough of the default version of the game. And, well, yeah, it's Heavenly Strike, despite no difference occurring on whether or not you strike or don't strike the enemy. If you do, you'll lose one resolve. If you don't, you get no resolve. I can't seem to target any one enemy with that all that often. And way too many didn't function, and all this stuff for the PlayStation 4 is superior to PlayStation 3, which was inferior to the 360, and in order to charge things on the 360, you can just plug it in, that's fine. But with the PlayStation 4, it has to be on, and it even turned itself on one time. And I couldn't even find the buttons that controlled the thing without having to get help from a person who did it, who had it previously. Come on, if you're gonna have buttons on something, I shouldn't be struggling to find those buttons. And the controllers are needlessly overpriced. That controller has the one controller, way too many inputs didn't go through, and also Joy-Con drift happened on the first one, which actually ran worse than the other one, which surprisingly doesn't have Joy-Con drift. Way too many inputs don't register on that thing, and it was $66. Not even God of War 4 cost that much. And I expected some dismemberment when fighting literal rotting corpses in that, when the god of blood in this game can literally just casually regrow his own arm, use it as a weapon, and just dismember everything from everything, and cause things to come from the ground up just by hitting it, and can improve itself with blood. Yeah, God of War 4, after seeing that on the 360, God of War 4 was overwhelming. But don't get me wrong, it's not bad by any means. No, not bad at all. It's just blood and the thing, and murder, death, blood, whatever it is that Care Mask is the god of. Yeah, all of those things that applies for are things that make up war, and Kratos is the god of war, and that's a lot underwhelming, especially seeing what he's done to his enemies in the past as well, using wings on himself, and just I'm not sure how I could put into words what he did to that thing, and he's covered in something that I think it's part of his dead. I'm not sure. He's covered in something. Yeah. In Ghost of Tsushima Launch Edition, I still find myself playing that thing despite all of its errors. It's probably because I want to be able to use things that take out those overwhelming forces. Speaking of that, they actually added more overwhelming forces after I repeatedly died. And also the thing that indicate taking damage. Yes, sometimes you don't actually take damage from that. Even though the indicator happens. somehow. Don't ask me why. Yeah. I'm stuck on a puzzle to solve in Splatterhouse, but I just decided to do the new survival arena. And by the way, after Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, Ninja Gaiden 2, and Splatterhouse alone, that's not even all the games I had dismemberment. They're all on the 360, and at least Metal Gear Rising was on the PlayStation 4. And, well, Ninja Gaiden 2 got put on the PlayStation 4, yeah. You don't have the excuse of their hardware not being able to handle all of the maximum amount of dismemberment coming after the 360, which could handle it, and also the same game being on the PlayStation 4, 3, and that being superior, and also the timing of which it existed. Yeah, you can't use that excuse. The real old consoles could. This can't. 2013, after 2014, because some games will be in pre-development and going back and adding things, so that would take time and money, and, well, they may not be limited. Well, they may be limited. Yeah, that's fine, but 2014, 2015, if it's a long game to develop, yeah, dismemberment should at least be included in some form. But dynamic dismemberment, after the show that Metal Gear Rising put off, where every single prop and every single enemy and even parts of the map in a few levels were you could cut up any which way, as many pieces as you want. Yeah. You're skimping for not having any dismemberment. And have you played Ninja Gaiden 2? And have you played the hallway? They slowed down the unit significantly. It was playing in slow motion, as opposed to having it in frames and everything else running at a slower in the player. At least you got an FPS where you could tell what's going on, but console, no, the FPS it's not that good. They could just slow it down, but no, PC doesn't do that. Console slows it down, PC lowers the frame rate, and it's not good. But at least you get slow motion and you can see things going in console. I feel like on PC, things could be happening that the player isn't going on, and that, depending on the game, there's gonna be consequences.